computer.
So
Okay, it
got
says
it.
recording in progress.
This okay.
All right, so I think we got it.
I
Okay,
hope so.
so yeah, so no, this is water. Okay,
Are you sure now? I mean, I'm not judging. I'm just
yeah.
saying. You
No,
know, it says Poland Spring.
I was going to buy me a little 6-pack or something, but I walked into this liquor store that's right around the corner from me,
Right.
and I wanted to get something different, something new. I never drank whatever. So I saw this little thing. It was a 4-pack, actually. These little
A four.
12, yeah, a little 4-pack. That's actually real popular right now. You have
Okay.
all of these like IPAs and craft beers and all these kind of fancy stuff, and they
Right.
sell them in 4-packs now because they're higher in alcohol content. So
Oh,
you can get probably twice as fucked up on 4 of them than you can on like 6 Miller Lights, you know?
wow.
Um, yeah, because the alcohol content is double or more sometimes.
Jeez.
So yeah, so I was gonna buy 4 of this stout. I don't even remember the name of it. And I
Guinness.
brought it, no, it wasn't Guinness, but I brought it up to the cash register and the lady rang it up and it was $18. I said,
For
excuse me?
four?
Yeah,
For four beers?
yes. I said, excuse me, $18? She said, yes. I said, no, thank you. I picked it up off the counter and brought it back in the fridge, put it back, walked out and said, thank you very much. See you
That
later.
was some imported beer or something?
No, it was an American beer, but I
Wow.
think it was that liquor store because I also asked her how much was the pint of bullet bourbon. And I bought one the other day for $20. And
Whoa. So you
hers,
think they're just naturally pricier?
yeah, that little store is real pricey, and hers was $35, $15 more
Oh no.
than down the block. So yeah,
That's one I would avoid then.
so I said, you know what? I'm gonna drink water today.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So I was
Now,
what? Go ahead.
did you hear about yesterday? I was watching the news and Bud Light, which is one of the most famous beers of all time, Bud Light. Typical blue collar, everyday American, Joe
Probably the
Schmo
most
drinks it.
famous beer.
Well, you know, they've been number one for a long time. You
Yeah.
know, they got kicked off. And from what they're not number one beer anymore. From what I understand now, Modelo beat them. And
Oh,
allegedly, from as the what I heard in the grapevine is because they had this now I don't want to get too much into this, or we can, it doesn't matter. From what I understand, it was Bud Light had this transgender spokesperson,
oh yeah, yeah.
you
No,
know,
that's yeah. Dylan,
praising them.
Dylan,
And
Dylan Mulvaney. I know you don't follow the news very
no,
closely,
I
but
don't.
yeah, this has been
I'm
like the
still living under the
biggest.
rock.
This is the biggest story for the past like 3 weeks at least. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And to everybody that knows this, I literally am living under a rock, and I've been living under a rock. So I don't keep up with the news.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just living day by day, trying to make my hustle, trying to make money.
Yeah.
Simple as
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
hear you. But
but
you know, that if we do this, we keep doing this, you know, then you'll pick up on a lot more stuff, you know, because you'll have to. It'll be part of the conversation
right,
and
I'm
all that.
hoping to,
Yeah.
and I,
So
you know,
with that in mind, I want to share the screen and show you, and people who are watching and listening will probably be shocked to know that you've never heard of the Drudge Report before. So,
I don't know what that the Drudge Report.
yeah,
Hey, isn't that Osama bin Laden and Jet Li over there?
yeah, no, it's Jackie Chan.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jackie Chan.
Yeah, yeah, that's
So,
Osama and Jackie Chan. They
so they're
made a
making a new
movie.
movie.
They made a movie together. Yeah, yep.
And what is this about now?
Um,
Is it like
so
a Kung Pao or something like that?
yeah,
You know?
it's a mix between Die Hard and Kung Pao.
Oh, that's all. That's got to be a good movie.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see it. Um,
So
so
tell me about this.
this is the Drudge Report. Okay,
Okay.
it's just a website. It's I'm gonna trying to remember the name of these types of websites. It's like a news aggregate.
Okay.
So in other words, this is not a news, how do you say it? Like a newspaper. Like they're not journalists. These are not their stories. They just link to stories that are
Right.
on the web, they link to New York Times and they link to New York Post and LA Times. And so whatever story they think is like really interesting,
Okay.
they post it on their website. And this, but of course, even, I mean, there is, I guess, maybe some almost journalistic element to it because they're choosing which links to post. So if they want certain stories to be out there, you know what I mean? So when it first started this website, the guy, his name is Matt Drudge. He started the website. I don't know if he still owns it, but he was considered like a real conservative Republican kind of guy.
Okay.
Over the years, the website sort of changed where it seemed like it was kind of going the other direction. Again, I don't know if he still owns it, but this really became big during the Clinton administration when I think it was during, I'm not sure, I think it was during the Monica Lewinsky whole blowjob, drama. You're aware of
Okay.
that, right? Bill Clinton and
Yes.
blowjob. Okay.
Yes.
See
Yes.
that
I was actually in the back room coaching them.
I had a feeling you would know that story.
Yes.
So, but anyway, I guess this website was kind of known
Speaking of that,
reporting on that story. What's up?
I don't mean to cut you off and go back
Yeah.
into this topic, but I learned a new word, and it
What's
has
that?
to do with what Clinton did and all this and that. And I learned a new word, and this word has probably been around for 100 years. Again, starting every now and then, I crawl under the rock, crawl from out from under the rock, and this word is just so funny, and I love it. Although I know I can't say it on a regular basis, especially in public. Fellatio. Tell me that is not a funny word. The word within itself. I love that word, fellatio.
I'm sorry, you said you just learned this word?
I just learned this word. I'm used to calling it a humdinger, but but I learned this word and I love this word. Except, I was told, hey, you can't just say that to anybody like that because you never know, and you might get in trouble. I said, yeah, a little trouble isn't that bad, but I still love the word fellatio.
I wonder.
Say it with me now. Say it with me. Fellatio.
It doesn't sound. Now I know that word. I'm shocked that you never heard that word
before. I just learned it a few
but
months ago.
really, wow. So hey, I mean, whatever. I mean, there's a learning curve to language and English and stuff.
I just wanted to bring it up. That's all.
But let me ask you: is that word actually English? Because it sounds like it's Italian or something.
It would sound like it's some kind of a Latin derived word of some sort. I don't know, but I just, I was watching, I think Maury Povich or something like that. And the girl said, yeah, well, my dad was in the back and he was getting fellatio from somebody else. And I'm like, fellatio? What is that? So, my friend told me, you don't know what fellatio is? I'm like, I've never heard that word in my life. And that's when my friend explained it to me. I'm like, oh, well, why don't they say that? Because that sounds a lot cooler than a humdinger or something like that.
I don't know. There's something it's too nice of a word. Like makes it sound like you're talking about some kind of I don't know, some romantic dance or something, fellatio.
Bro, I was watching Maury and a black girl from Detroit said it. So you tell me. All right.
All right, then
in my hood, we never use that word. We always use head or whatever. But I'm just saying the word is cool. It's a cool word.
Well, good for you, man. I'm glad to see that you're building your vocabulary.
Yes, exactly.
That's great.
Moving on with the grunge or whatever you said.
The drudge. No, I just wanted to show this to you because
it's the same difference. Don't worry about it.
this is just one source of news that I log into pretty often, at least a couple times a week, just to see what the
You know,
headlines are.
you know what's funny is these guys in that picture, the Arabic guy and the Asian, well, they're both Asians, but I think the word Oriental now, that word is not
No,
politically
I think
correct.
that's actually still so when you call people, when you say yeah, the Oriental guy that lives next door, yeah, supposedly now that is offensive. But the
Well,
word Oriental itself is used in so many legitimate ways.
exactly.
So
Technically, these guys are both Asians.
yeah, so I don't know where that line is, to be honest
Now,
with you. I
now
don't
you
say the
can't,
word just because I've been told it's not good, so I
right.
don't use it. But
I've been told it's not politically correct, but let's be honest. You know, you cannot confuse a man from China with a man from Saudi Arabia. Okay, that's
no,
very hard to confuse them. But
yeah.
they're both Asians. So what are you supposed to do?
But even but even that I don't think is actually correct. I don't think it depends on what I think it depends on what you mean by the word Asian. So Asian for me, when people say Asian, I think of Oriental. I think of Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese. But
But that even that's not politically correct
but but
because
but
Asian is all of Asia, is it not?
well, technically geographically, yes. But if we're talking about human DNA and culture and you know races or whatever, I don't think it is the same because that guy and that guy obviously didn't come from the same womb. Okay, I mean they didn't come from the same fucking
You don't
country.
think they're cousins?
No, I don't. So um the Arab guy, I would call him Middle Eastern. That's what I would call
Okay,
him.
I is that politically correct still
Yes,
until it changes? Somebody
until it
gets mad at
changes.
it and it's going to change in like 5 years. Oh,
Yeah,
you can't call us
as
Middle
of right,
Eastern anymore.
yeah, as of right now, you can say that word.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
if there's any change, because I'm always behind, please let me know. I
I'll let you
don't want
know.
to offend anybody, but at the
No,
same time, man, this whole politically correct stuff is just it's just a little too much, I think. You know, my last thing that I want to do is hurt anybody. I really don't want to hurt anybody, but I mean, I need a dictionary. I need a whole manual, which is probably 5 books in length to figure out what is politically correct anymore and not.
yeah,
It's just too much, don't you think?
yeah. You know what I love to do? I love to go back and watch old like Jefferson's
I
episodes
love it. Oh
or
my
All in
god.
the Family.
What's happening? Remember what's happening?
Yeah, but more
And I grew up on
specifically,
that show.
yeah, but more specifically in the Jeffersons and All in the Family, where they actually use like racial slurs all the time, and you know they
But
weren't
that was a
afraid.
normal thing then.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Well, they
was
were
what
just
it was.
they were portraying real life. You know what I mean?
Like
You
I
know?
remember when I moved, I was, pretty much raised in a Spanish neighborhood. It was
Uh,
all Spanish. And I'm talking Spanish from everywhere, every color you could think of. Now, when I went to like the Newark area,
uh-huh.
where I was, later found out that a lot of politically correct stuff, like back in the '90s and the '80s, I remember, you know, you got a black friend, whatever, but oh, yeah, don't say black. You can't say black. I'm like, what do you mean I can't say? He's a black guy. Is he not? He was like, no, it's African American. I'm
Yeah,
like, wait a second. First of all, excuse me. Again, I don't mean to hurt anybody. I'm not looking to do that to
yeah,
anybody.
sure.
But first of all, the guy's not from Africa.
Yeah,
Okay. His family, his mother, his grandparents, his great grandparents have been in America for the last 3, 4, 500 years. Okay. Okay. He is American, but to me, he's a black American.
yeah,
He's a black guy.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
Spanish, but I'm white. Who
yeah.
cares?
Well,
Look at
I
it.
don't have strong, I get what you're saying, and I've heard a lot of people make this argument. And I wouldn't say that it's wrong, but I just have zero interest or opinion or any energy to spare on any of this. Like, um, I don't think black is wrong. I don't even think
No,
African is wrong, African American, because sometimes, like, if I don't know if let's say you're watching a news segment on, they're talking about a certain part of Brooklyn where it was 80% Italian American or 80%, maybe they just say Italians. Like, I don't see anything offensive about that. I understand they're Americans. I get it. They're Americans,
right.
but they're of the Italian descent. So it doesn't trigger anything in me either way. But I know a lot of people that feel the same way that you do. People I respect. Like this
Right.
one guy, Larry Elder. I'm sure you've never heard of Larry Elder,
I've
right?
heard of him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, good. So I actually met him in South Dakota. And he's going to be running for president too. But
Wow.
anyway, he's one of my political heroes.
Okay.
So, he's a black conservative, libertarian, Republican, guy.
Cool.
And he's always going against the grain. He's always going against the narrative of black victimization and BLM and all the stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
and one of his big pet peeves is the whole African American label. He hates it. He's like, you're an American and that's it. You're not African. Okay, you're black, but you're not African.
That's
So
the way I see it.
I can intellectually get what he's saying, but I don't really care about it. If somebody wants
Uh,
to be called
it's not a
African American, because it's not exactly wrong, because they do have African blood, where you have Cuban blood, and I think you also have some Arabic blood. I
and
have
I have a
Irish.
little bit, and I have a little bit of African blood.
There you
Does
go. And
that make me African?
it
If you
doesn't.
look at me, do I look like an African American
It
to
it
you?
does it does it doesn't. It doesn't. And you're technically correct, especially if we're talking about geographically or nationality or like that. Kind of going back to the Osama bin Laden Jackie Chan movie we were just discussing. So they are technically geographically both Asian, but we know when you say Asian and you're talking about a person, you know what the fuck you're talking about. You're talking about Jackie Chan. You're not talking about Osama bin Laden because he is Arabic. He's Middle Eastern. It's different. But geographically speaking, they technically both come from the continent of Asia. You know,
Right.
so I don't get too
I mean, I don't
invested
care.
in all of this, to be
I
honest with
don't.
you.
My big thing isn't race. It really isn't. But I mean, to be honest with you, just about every black person I've ever met in my life don't like to be called African American. They
Okay.
don't like it,
I
and
never say it, to be honest with you.
I
I
don't either.
always say black, you know.
Black guy, white guy, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
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 the way I see
basically
it.
what I say. Yeah. That's
And
pretty much my
me,
go-to.
I really don't care about race at all. I mean, I'm not racist. I don't care about race. You could be black, white, green, Chinese. It doesn't matter to me. You're a
Uh-huh.
human like everybody else. Simple as
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. But it matters so much to people nowadays, though, and it seems like it's getting worse.
It does. And but I think for the most part, uh, you know, black people have made it towards if okay, yeah, I'm black. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, um, I just don't really uh as far as that goes though, it's I lost my train of thought, but I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Nowadays it's being um encouraged. It's being almost farmed in a sense. It's definitely not a good word. I just can't think of a good word to describe what I'm trying to say. It's being um, cultivated
Mm,
and pushed on us. All this division, in my opinion, for the sake of power, for the sake of politics, for the sake of money. Um,
yeah,
I would say most of it, not all of it, but most of it is is for the sake of the Democrat Party, for Democrat votes, because they absolutely, positively depend on it.
Uh,
And if you think that they are not evil enough to burn this country to the ground for the sake of having control over it, I would say you're very wrong.
think that all of these parties, Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Communist Party, Nazis, Green Party, Tea Party, whatever, they're going to burn this country to the ground, but the way they want to burn it to the ground and what's in their benefit. They don't do this for the simple sake of, oh, yeah, I want to be this because, I want to be a Republican or a Democrat because I think it's, I have nothing better to do with my time. No, there's a reason for it.
I
And
would disagree
by all
on
means,
one small part of that because you added the libertarians. I wouldn't add the libertarians because the very point of the Libertarian Party is to leave people alone.
okay,
That's the premise of all libertarianism.
well, then that's the
So,
party that I want to know more about.
so it's funny. There's like a funny meme that you see all over the place, and I'm gonna screw it up. I'm not gonna say it word for word, but it's something along the lines where you always hear about conspiracies and whatnot, especially political
Yeah, I'm really
conspiracies.
sick of it. But
But
anyway,
but it says yeah, something like the libertarians. Oh man, I should look this up. But the libertarians are evil because they're going to take over your country and then leave you alone. You know what I mean? It's kind of a joke, like,
uh-huh,
instead of take over the country and then control you, or take over the country
right.
or do bad stuff, or take over the country and whatever, bleed you dry financially, they're going to take over the country to leave you alone. Because that's what it is. It's based on something called the non-aggression principle.
Uh-huh.
Um, so basically it means don't um, don't initiate violence unprovoked on anyone ever.
I agree.
Don't don't take anyone's shit,
I also
and
agree.
just leave people the fuck alone to live their lives.
That's
And
my party.
that's
I'm gonna look them
basically
up.
that's basically libertarianism in a nutshell.
Wow.
So
So I mean,
small, but you have to understand what comes along with that. Then that means less social programs. That means less, all of these fucking departments that we actually don't need and do nothing really for us, probably do much more harm than good, like the Department of Education. So many of these many, many, many layers of bureaucracy
hmm,
and overbearing government and all that would, if we were ever actually in control, they'd be gone. They'd be gone. So a lot of things that Americans have become used to and dependent on would not be available anymore. So
well, that's our system, and I believe for the most part, I could be wrong. I believe it was mostly all the Democrats that put all these programs in place, and the typical. Well, my father taught me. I mean, he was very. He wasn't an educated man, but man, that guy sat and read the paper every day for like an hour or two, and he educated himself a lot on current events. And from what his game was, I think he knew about politics, which
okay,
I don't, because there's just too much division. There's too much. My side is better than yours because, or no, my side is better than yours because, I'm not taking anybody's side. But
yeah,
as far as that goes, from what I understand, democracy, the Democrats believe in making the people dependent on what they have to offer as far as their programs, their this, their help, their that, the Section 8, the welfare, from what I understand, the Democrats pretty much set that in place. I could be wrong. I'm
yeah.
not sure.
No, that's a pretty good guess.
I'm not saying the
Um,
Republicans did not set any programs.
no, the Republicans are very guilty of building government as well. They are, but a lot of times, not always, sometimes they work hand in hand with the Democrats to do a lot of the social programs as well. But they also build government through other directives that like the military and policing and FBI and this and that and the other, and every goddamn thing that this government does that they're not really supposed to be doing.
Well, it's the people in it that take advantage of the situation or make it their own. You know what I mean? That's what I think.
Well, I think what happens is people can be bought.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes literally bought, or sometimes just with promises that never even come true anyway, half the time. But people can be bought, their votes can be bought, and people have a very, very, very short-term memory. So no one remembers before, Social Security was implemented. Nobody remembers before employers would offer health insurance through their job. Nobody remembers when the dollar was fixed to gold. Nobody remembers before these major changes happened. They only remember after. So, and as time goes on, they also don't pay attention to the consequences. They don't pay attention to, okay, well, before this, things were like that. So we didn't think things were perfect. So we tried to correct it with this. And now after this, now look what we're fighting with. They never connect those dots. They never connect those dots. Most of the time, they're not like your father. They're not going to sit down and read a newspaper.
It's almost like a pyramid scheme.
To a certain degree, it is, especially Social Security. Yeah. And all the unfunded obligations that we have moving forward with Medicare and all this. At some point, it has to topple. At some point, something has to give. From what I understand, I don't follow it as closely as I should. I don't follow anything right now. I'm just too busy living life. But I've heard rumblings or echoes of countries unpinning themselves from the dollar. So
I've been hearing that.
Yeah, they're doing business in their money or someone else's money, whatever, but not specifically the dollar. And
they're making a new order of currency, and that's to do with oil. They're trying to get rid of the US dollar that represents
petrodollar,
oil and petroleum.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that has a lot to do with the fact that we are able to spend beyond our means. They just had that fight over the debt ceiling. I don't know if you heard anything about that. It's been going on for several weeks. It's been like the biggest story besides the Bud Light thing.
We're at 5%. They want to get it down to 2.5.
They always want to raise the debt limit, raise the debt limit, raise the debt limit.
But that just gets us more in trouble, does it not?
Well, when we have the standing that we've had for so many decades, where the entire world uses our money as their money, especially when trading with other countries, it doesn't matter as much. You know what I mean? We can kick that can down the road again and again and again and again and again. But once things start changing, if they start using different money as their currency or to trade oil or whatever it is, then
that's what I think they're looking for.
Yeah, they would. Yeah. Then we may not have as, an untouchable status where economics almost doesn't matter to us because
right now we're not bad, but you have to remember Rome was the biggest empire in the world at one point. They controlled all of Europe, most of Asia.
Yeah.
Rome was huge, but Rome fell.
Yeah. And I've heard a lot of different stories of why Rome fell. Amongst libertarians, it's very popular to say that it was basically because they inflated their money and they made themselves broke because of it.
Kind of
when
like
I
what we're
say,
doing.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Now, I've heard other stories where that's not the whole story. You know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
I'm
So
sure
I
there's more
don't know.
detail about it.
I'm not an expert on Roman history to say one way or the other. But they literally did like inflate their money where their money was actual coin, and they just diluted the coin with cheaper metals. And at first it worked because they were fucking Rome. I mean, you know what I mean? Who's not going to accept
Right.
Rome's money? But then eventually it caught up with them where people realized that this money is actually fucking worthless, So, and
Right.
like I said, I don't know that that's exactly how it happened, and I don't even know if that's the entire reason why they fell. I don't think it is.
I don't think
But
that's the entire reason.
no, but for what I understand, it is part of the story. So anyway, how the fuck did we get to this? I don't even remember. I don't even remember
We're
what we
just,
were talking
hey
about.
man, we're just touching on some really cool, interesting topics. That's
Okay.
all.
You see anything interesting on the internet recently? I know you're
Uh,
not a social media guy.
no,
I know you're not a social media guy, but you do play
no,
around
I
on
am not.
TikTok, don't you?
Every now and then I scroll up and down and I just watch the kooky videos with the kitties and the doggies. And then, out of the 2 or 3 doggy videos, I got to pass by all the women shaking their boobs. That's 10 videos down the road and I get to another kitty video. It's like,
Yeah, I'm getting
I want to
so
watch funny
tired of that.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm getting.
Yeah.
So I says, yeah,
So
no, the video just cut out. So you
I
were
know
saying?
we're we're too cheap to buy the actual plan,
Yeah,
the pricey one.
yeah.
But anyway, um, oh well, you were telling me, you were asking me about TikTok and all that, and I'm like, I love TikTok because I watch videos, I watch people do funny things, all the cat video. I love the cat videos and the dog videos, and I really don't like when they make some crazy stunts that they could get hurt, but to each his own. They're trying to get views.
Yeah, I
I
can't
wouldn't
stand
do
that
that.
either. I can't stand that either.
And not for none. That's mostly the white people doing all that stupid stuff. But anyway,
Some
I
Asians too.
yeah, some of them. But I mean, I know the blacks and us browns were like, oh hell no, I'm not doing that, man. I'll bust my head open. You crazy? But anyway, and then you have all these. What gets me, and don't get the wrong idea. I'm a heterosexual. Not that that matters. I love women. And I love good looking women, boobs and legs and big butts and all that. But after a while, man, it makes you a little numb. There's so much of it on TikTok. It's like, oh, look at my butt, look at my boobs, look at, and it's
And
like,
it's not just TikTok. They're also on Facebook. They're on Instagram, but TikTok is the biggest one right now. And I can't stand it. Maybe years ago, I would have been like, oh wow, this is great. Seeing all this
right.
TNA. But I don't know. There's a certain point where you're like, you know what, get over yourself. I got other
Yeah.
more important shit to do than sit here and watch your fucking flabby old tits.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, pretty much.
yeah, I mean, because there's but when it comes to this stuff, there's actually several different categories of these women who kind of put themselves out there. I'd
Like
say
what?
the one category is the straight up porn stars, basically. I mean, they have their OnlyFans account and they're doing themselves and doing dudes and doing women, and you got to
Jeez.
pay for a membership to watch and all this kind of stuff. So you
I
got
heard
those
some.
girls.
I heard some
Um,
crazy stuff about that. Those
yeah,
kind of
there's a lot of
people.
them. There's
Hey,
millions
but
of them.
teach his own. I'm not,
Yeah,
judging
whatever.
anybody.
But exactly, go do your hustle. Make that money. But you got them, and I have more respect for them than I would some of these other ones. So you got them. Then you got women who are beautiful enough that they don't have to do the OnlyFans and all that stuff. And they actually do attract a pretty big following. And they just post pictures of themselves that are
Right.
somewhat, revealing
Well,
or
some of these
whatever.
girls actually take care of themselves, and
Yeah,
their thing is, look, I work out and I eat
yeah.
well, and I have an hourglass figure, and that's all
Well, I
good
don't
too.
know. Not the ones that I'm following. I like the sisters with the curves and the big
Oh,
round. But But anyway,
There's nothing wrong with that either.
yeah. So anyway, what was I saying? But
Well,
you
actually,
got those.
some of these sisters, and this fits in that same category that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Some of these sisters and Latinas and all that,
Yeah.
they do have big butts,
Yeah.
tiny waist, big boobs,
Yeah.
and a lot of them. I can't say a lot of them are not, but I mean, I guess you do have to work out a little bit at least and eat well,
I don't
take
know.
care of yourselves.
Maybe.
Some of
I
these
guess.
women,
I think it depends.
but some of these girls are naturally like
Curvy
wow,
and just amazing. Yeah.
you know, and that's great.
Yeah. So anyway, you got those ones who are actually beautiful and they do attract a big following and whatever. And they probably make some money off of it too, you know, because if you have a certain amount of followers, you actually start making money from these social media apps.
Cool.
Then you got the ones who aren't really attractive, or maybe slightly attractive, but they're just hungry for attention. They don't make money. They're not a social media influencer. They're not doing porn. They're just wasting their entire fucking day, every day, posting videos and pictures of themselves all over social media. And they also like to post drama too. You know what I mean? Like, oh, nobody treats me well, or I'm a boss bitch, and don't disrespect me. All this weird shit that nobody cares about. You know what I mean? And they'll post stuff like I don't know, just random stuff. I think you probably run into them before.
I've seen quite a few things.
Those are the three categories. But the one I see on TikTok more often than anything are the middle-aged. They're usually 40 plus. And you could tell that like 15 years ago, they were an absolute fucking knockout. Okay. You could tell they were an 8 at least. But now they're in their late 40s. They're still attractive, but they're older, you know, and
there's nothing wrong with an older woman.
I don't think that they make money off of it. I don't even think that most of them have OnlyFans accounts. Some of them do, some of them don't. But they're just hungry for attention. Just look at my tits. Look at my tits. Look at my tits.
Yeah, you know? I know. It's just
it's like, you know, I'm a
after
dude.
After a while, it makes you numb though. For me,
I love tits. I fucking love tits.
Who doesn't?
But gay men don't like tits.
Well, a lot of girls like tits.
Yeah. But it's like at some point, it's like you're skeeved by it. You're like who wants to be with a woman? Not that that means anything. I'm never gonna be with her, and I don't give a fuck who her man is or whatever. It's not anything I really should be concerned about. But I'm just thinking out loud. Who the fuck wants to be with a fucking psycho who's on fucking TikTok, fucking juggling her tits? She's got 400 videos of her fucking playing with her tits. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like at some point, when do we actually say, you know what? You're a fucking goofball. You know what I mean?
Nothing better to do.
And start having less respect for women in general when I start seeing this shit too much. Because it's all over TikTok. You can't turn on TikTok and not get a pair of tits in your face.
And then have you ever seen the comments that have you ever seen the comments that they leave? Oh yeah, baby. Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so gorgeous, and this and that. And oh my God, where are you? And it's like, really? You know. After a while, though, it's just like I said, it numbs. It's just, and they just sit there with their on the live videos, on the TikTok live, whatever it is, and they just sit there waiting for somebody to.
The TikTok lives. Yeah, what the fuck is that? I don't understand.
And they just sit there with their boobs hanging out, and they're doing nothing. They're just looking at the camera.
Looking at the camera.
So somebody says, "What? Hi, you're beautiful. You have big boobs."
And then you go on Instagram, and if you know if you find somebody who fits the same kind of personality type, you'll see they have fucking 400 pictures like this of their face, and it's like,
oh, step back a little, dude.
I'm sorry, did I break the camera?
You almost broke my jaw.
It's
But
like
anyway,
400 close-up. It's like,
it's all the
and, and,
same.
and you'll see dudes that fucking do this too.
Oh
Have you
yeah,
seen that? Have you seen
yeah.
the dudes who have profiles, Instagram profiles, where it's fucking 800 of this? And you're like, why would anyone find
Why?
that fucking interesting?
I don't
How?
know. And then can't these people just go somewhere else? Because at first TikTok was, I mean, I remember it was called something else before TikTok. Um, but it
Oh,
was
was
like,
it?
yes, it was. I forgot exactly what it was called, but it wasn't TikTok. It was something else with the same font of letters and everything else. I just forgot the name of it. But
Uh-huh.
back then it was, all these kids doing goofy things and, silly things and like pet videos. It was cool, and you see all these goofy things that people do. And then it became like, look at my boobs everywhere. Like
Yeah.
7 out of 10 videos will be boobs. Look at my boobs.
Yeah.
It's like, doesn't that
Don't
get
get me
boring?
wrong. I'm not gonna fucking
I,
lie.
I love women, but
Every once in a while, one will really catch my eye, and
oh no,
I'll
me
click onto
too.
their profile to check
Guilty
it
is
out
charged.
for a
Guilty
minute
is
or two.
charged.
But every time I do that, I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. And then I
Just
fucking,
yeah, you just became part of the problem. Well, I wouldn't
I'm
say it's a problem, but it's a stupid situation.
yeah, and I'm like, you know what? I'm poorer than I was 3 seconds ago when I clicked on your fucking account. You know what I mean? I have better things to do than to be watching your tits.
Right.
Fuck.
Hey, you want my Cash App? You want my
Yeah.
Cash App? Get it. Come on, man.
Yeah. So
I'll let you see my toes for
yeah.
$10. $5, $5, $5, no nothing.
You know that's a
You
fucking
know,
thing. Hey, you know that's a fucking thing.
I heard
Do you know that guys pay to see women's feet?
they paid to see the weirdest stuff.
No,
And
yeah,
hey,
I
to
know.
each their own on your hustle. I
Yeah,
mean, if you want to see my feet and pay me $5, I'll show you my feet all day.
yeah, no, I
But
get it. I get it. There's a lot of kink out there, and some of it gets pretty fucking strange. But my point's
crazy.
not that. My point is that they would actually spend money on
That's what I
just
mean.
seeing feet.
Or I heard things like, so I see this on one of the talk shows that this girl, and she was, I mean, for a bigger girl, she wasn't ugly. She had a cute face, but this girl was at least 350 pounds. And she says that she gets on one of those websites and people actually pay her to jump up and down, clothed, not nude, with clothes on, to jump up and down on her bed. And she makes $50, $100 a clip.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
I'm like, wow. I mean,
Do you know how
hey,
hard I need to work to make $100? You have any fucking clue?
hey,
And
maybe you
this
should.
fucking elephant can just jump on a bed and get
I'm
paid.
telling you, hey, maybe
Wow.
you should invest yourself in a pair of boobs, man. That's where the money's at. Big old boobies.
And I
Gotta
could
love
be
it.
on TikTok all day.
Gotta love it.
Yo, my Cash App, my Cash App.
Oh, my Cash App. Yo, it's Chinny D at Cash App. you know, to each his own on their hustle. I'm not
Oh my
knocking
God.
anybody. I'm not anybody to judge.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is when you get that, almost and slightly almost kink pornographic stuff
Yeah.
on an app like TikTok, that should really only be just for fun and games. And I don't want to see, almost porn on TikTok.
Yeah.
I
But
don't want to see
you know,
smoking crack or shooting heroin on TikTok. I
but
just
this
don't
is
want to see it.
also a sign of how old we are too. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Because 20 years ago, you probably wouldn't have given a fuck. You'd been on TikTok all goddamn day
But
watching those titties.
20 years ago, there was a different standard as well. It was a different standard.
Yeah.
Now it's everybody teach his own. What's wrong with that? Oh, you're limiting me. Oh, you're racist, or you're a homophobe, and this and that.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I don't think everything should be let out in public view to everybody. You have to respect other people's decisions or what they want to see and don't want to see.
I think it comes down to this. We need to bring shame back.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Shame needs to trend. Shame needs to be trending. Hashtag shame. Bring shame back,
Morals. Couth.
But the thing is this though, but being that I'm a libertarian at heart, I'm a weird mix politically and philosophically, because I am live and let live. But at the same time, personally, I tend to lean on most stuff very socially conservative.
Right.
And
okay. I respect that.
As I get older, I tend to do more of that. But my philosophy is still live and let live. So I don't want to limit people in their kink, in their crazy shit that they do. Like I had a conversation with somebody recently that I was working with.
How'd that go?
And he goes, oh man, how can I say this? This is definitely not for the podcast.
Just say it and just excuse yourself by saying it.
That's all. Somehow the term toss your salad came up. Do you know what that means?
I've heard it, but I don't know exactly what it means.
So toss your salad means basically it means eat somebody's asshole. Yeah. So we were throwing that around and talking about,
I wouldn't throw that around.
No, we were throwing that around.
You keep that ass to yourself.
Okay, so me and you are the same age level, right?
Right.
So I'm tossing that around, he's tossing that around jokingly. We're talking, BSing, working, and joking.
This wasn't an actual thing though, right?
No,
I'm not judging anybody.
So
okay, good.
I go in the bathroom.
Whoa, what happened in the bathroom?
I look up tossed salad on Google, and then I saw a definition, what it means. I went back out and I said, whoa, hold the phone. This guy is not tossing any salad for any fucking body, okay? He was like, what do you mean? I said, I just looked it up, okay? This guy don't do that. He goes, huh?
You didn't know what it meant?
I didn't know what it meant. No, I didn't know what it meant.
Who rang that up?
I don't know who it was. Somebody said it and we just was joking around. It was at work,
Okay.
So anyway, so I go in the bathroom, I look it up, I came back outside, I said, listen, I ain't tossing nobody's salad. I don't care who she is, I don't care how beautiful she is. I'm not tossing anybody's salad. He said, are you serious? I said, yeah, I'm serious. He said, but John, nowadays they expect it. I said, nowadays I'd rather stay single and alone. I am not tossing anybody's salad.
I'm not eating anybody's poo-poo hole. Yeah. I am sorry. I don't swing that way.
So like you were saying, standards have changed. This is a new world.
Then again, hypothetically speaking, if somebody like, let's say, Beyonce came about,
I'm not tossing.
I'm not saying I would say yes, but I definitely at least give it a little thought.
I am not tossing anyone's salad. Okay.
Beyonce.
All right. So
anyway,
some things you can't say for certain until those things happen. And since right. And it's kind of like, you say, oh, I'm going to knock your block off. But when you're in the thick of it, when you're fighting somebody, you don't know what's going to happen,
Yeah.
So, but being that will probably never, ever
probably
happen,
not.
I think it's safe to say that I'm not tossing anyone's salad ever. Okay.
Beyonce, I'm right here. Whatever you want, baby. I'll at least think about it. I can't promise you anything, but I'll think about it.
But the thing is, standards have changed now. Like things like you can't get kinky enough. Like there's no, and which is fine. I don't want to limit anyone's.
Oh, I don't either. Kink. Teach his own.
to each his own, whatever floats your boat, whatever
Yeah.
makes you happy. My only thing is, I still think no matter how kinky of a person you are, you can still have common sense and be like, okay, this is where I can share that, and this is where I shouldn't. This is okay to
Right.
talk about these things and do these things in this setting. In this setting, that would make no fucking sense. And that's the problem. That people don't have sense and they don't have any shame whatsoever. They think
My,
everything should be out in the open all the time, everywhere.
you know what my biggest problem is
What's that?
with that on this same topic.
Uh-huh.
My biggest problem is me being a Latino
Uh,
of Spanish Caribbean descent.
yeah.
We we are trained from our parents, grandparents, whatever, to wash with soap and water whenever you are done with your bathroom. You wash your soap and water, or you take a shower. You hit that hole with some water and soap, get it nice and clean. Not in America.
I wash mine every Labor Day.
Well, that's the thing. Americans, whites and blacks alike, toilet paper. And you know what toilet paper does? It smears that caca everywhere.
Yeah.
You gotta hit that with water and soap.
Well, what am I gonna do? If I'm in a Dunkin' Donuts, I gotta take a shit. Am I gonna put my ass in the fucking sink?
I understand that. If you're at Dunkin' Donuts, you have no choice but to wipe. Yeah. I would too. I get that.
Yeah.
But right after I leave that door, I'm not gonna have somebody toss my salad or eat my poo-poo hole just after I, took a number two.
But bro, let me tell you something. I don't care if she just mopped her butt with bleach. I'm not doing that.
Hey, that's to each his own.
And that's that.
To each his own. That and that concludes the poo-poo hole toss salad topic.
That is the moral of today's podcast. No ass eating.
Okay? Don't eat anybody's poo-poo hole.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, I will remember that.
Beyonce,
right. Baby. Here for you.
You want to wrap this up, man?
Yeah, man. I had a great time. I had fun.
Nice.
And we definitely have to do this again.
You want to come back next week, maybe?
Definitely. I think we should do this more often. Just kicking it and just talking about all these different kind of topics, man. It's really cool. Just normal people talking.
Yeah, this was a little kind of rough and on the spur of the moment, but we'll get it more structured as we go. Sounds good, man.
I enjoyed it though.
Sounds good, man. All right, man. Let's get out of here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. Thank you. Mickey Hart out.